And you wouldn't think that coming to an office like this would have a lot to do with it, but it has lots to do with it. So, oh, that's really cool. I have this thing. It's working on both Macs at the same time. Because I have two Macs running at once. So, there's this great quote that I love, and I think it's the best way to start. And I don't mean to stand up over this small group, like this domineering force. I get very excited when I talk, so I often move around quite a bit. So there's this great quote by this guy, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Your French would probably be better than mine, but he was basically a priest in the 1950s. He was an interesting guy. He was passionate about spirituality, but he was also passionate about evolution. And he had this great quote. In fact, he almost got excommunicated from the Vatican, or from the church by the Vatican, because you couldn't believe in evolution and be a priest at the same time. But he sort of merged these two worlds. And basically what he said is that life has to continuously be changing if it wants to remain alive. So life itself, the process of being alive, of living, is just a process of constant change. And when we're able to sustain change, when we're able to be in the midst of change and be very flexible, that's when we really have this great sense of internal resourcefulness, this great sense of internal connection. And that's really what a large part of what true wellness is. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Coke just bought the rights. They've got the patent on the word wellness, the Coca-Cola Corporation. It's a little strange, isn't it? So when I talk about wellness, I don't have any big corporate sponsors. What I can tell you is that this is the truest version of wellness that I'm aware of. There's this great quote too, and I love this, because if I was to sum up my work with a quote, this is what it would be. You familiar with Joseph Campbell?
Mm-hmm.
I love Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell. He was a scholar of the sacred literature of India. So he has this great quote. People say that what we're seeking is a meaning for life. I think what we're really seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonance with our innermost being and reality, so that we can actually feel the rapture of being alive. Now, I know there's not a bunch of us here tonight, but just by a show of hands, who would like to feel on a continual basis the rapture of being alive? Me too, like two hands. I love that. And there's lots of ways to do this, and tonight we're going to talk about sort of why we stop feeling that way and how we can regain that. Briefly, this is a whole lot of stuff that basically so-called gives me the right to be here. I'll just tell you, I'm a doctor of chiropractic. That's a 5-year training, and I hold a master's degree in Chinese medicine and acupuncture. I've worked with Olympic and professional athletes, a lot of actors that you might know, babies, from just born to people over 100 years old. I'm really passionate about health, and I'm really passionate about helping people regain the health they lost and feel better than ever and keep getting better and younger as they age. Myself, I've been practicing so-called mind-body techniques for 22 years and started teaching meditation and other stress reduction stuff when I was 16. So in terms of my experience with this work, I've been living it and walking it to the best of my ability for a good while. And I bring a lot of the passion, and having screwed it up so many times myself, hopefully some wisdom of experience. I'm just really interested in human performance. And I don't mean... I'm interested in helping and inspiring and empowering people to live at their most authentic, most inspired, highest version of themselves, moment to moment to moment. And to me, that's peak performance. For a long time in my life, that was me being very fit and being an athlete. I lived at the Olympic Training Center and was trying to go to the Olympics. And then I did the Ironman triathlon, and I did lots of marathons, and I was, I explored peak performance that way. And then I've done lots of other things with peak performance in terms of my own meditation path and all these different venues. And what I kind of came up with at the end of all that is that none of that really matters. It's just our moment-to-moment experience that we feel like, again, we're this most authentic, beautiful, inspired expression of who we are. And a lot of this is all modulated through our bodies, so we're going to talk about it tonight. Lynn is my life partner, and she's one of my greatest inspirations, and this here is Carrie, who's our wonderful office guru, and just really make sure that she keeps me out of the way so that we can keep the healing going, and I can do what I'm good at, and she can do what they're good at. My dad was also an inspiration, and I just put that there because he was a college professor and a neuroscientist. He was a brain researcher, in fact, a very famous one, and he's written about 17 books on how the brain works. So my earliest memories growing up were, some of my earliest memories, my first birthday, when I saw the birthday cake and I stuck my whole head in it and I went like this. That was my first memory. But a lot of memories thereafter was my dad teaching me about the human brain, and he did that with human brains. So he'd bring home Tupperware containers and plop out human brains on the table, and he'd be like, okay, what's that? What does it do again? So I got exposed to this, and then I studied pictures of the brain and the spinal cord. I was obsessed with the spinal cord and the nerves. Like, so from an early age, I had this bizarro, nerdy, like, obsession with this. And so obviously it's never left, and here I am many years later, you know, still rocking this out. Briefly, what we're about is that we honor life, health, and the healing process. We believe in the inherent goodness and potential of each person. When I look at each of you, that's what I see. You know, it's a very humanistic, Carl Rogers kind of approach. We really just do see the good in everybody. And we treat everybody who walks through these doors, whether this is the first and last time I'll see you, or if I'll see you 2,000 more times, with love, truth, dignity, respect, humanity, and compassion, and excellence and truth. Those are the ways that we want to be treated in all affairs, and that's the way we want to treat you guys. We're always learning professionally to be at the leading edge. So I travel around the world to become the best in the world at what I do. Not because I need to be the best, but because you mean so much to me, and your health is your most important resource, that I want to give you everything that I have. You know, and ultimately we're about providing the care, the coaching, and the education so that you can have the greatest optimal health, happiness, and well-being, and fulfill your mission on your brief time on planet Earth. Now that may sound a little West Coast, but hey, we're from the West Coast.
I like the West Coast.
Me too. Right? Because I want you to have a masterpiece life for you and your family. I mean, why settle for less, right?